So this is Freddie.
This is Freddie.
Freddie, you like that.
Freddie was found on the freeway. The California Highway Patrol officers just found this little 5-pound piglet roaming the freeway.
I didn't want to worm him. He's too fragile to give any kind of...
He was the sickest animal that we have ever taken into the sanctuary.
And what leg was it? You said it was severe?
He had beginning stages of pneumonia. He had what's called a white muscle disease. He had a mineral deficiency. He had obvious abrasions on his back from his fall from the truck. And he had a number of other problems.
I'm sure they didn't do that.
You can probably get maybe at the store. Okay, Freddie. Come on, sweetie. Come on. Okay, meal time.
Freddie was fed cow's milk by the girl who rescued him. So when he arrived at Animal Place, we were very gradual in switching him over to a pig milk replacer. Well, you know, when we get in a young animal, we have to look at ways of how we can nurture them, how we can feed their stomach, and how we can feed them emotionally. And knowing what a mother sow, how she would care for her young. There would be generally a lot of siblings he would have. They would be nestled up in that big old fat sow belly, nursing on her and just getting a lot of tactile stimulation and a lot of warmth. So I immediately went out and bought a baby sling that mothers use for their newborn infants and tucked Freddie inside that sling so that he could hear my heartbeat. He could hear me breathing. He would obviously have a lot of warmth, temperature warmth from my body. And just as my motion throughout the day, whether I'm preparing his meal, one of his mini meals that he would eat throughout the day, because we fed him about every hour and a half, or I'm working on my computer, that I was with him. And he seemed to gain a lot of comfort from that.
While Freddie may live out his life in the security of Animal Place, he will never be too far removed from the ways of his wild cousins. Try as they may, those who today raise pigs in the confinement of commercial farms cannot remove through domestication the varying degrees of wildness that all pigs retain. Born in litters of 5 to 6, the young piglets tend to play and sleep together, developing bonds that may last throughout their lifetime. As they grow older and move more confidently throughout the herd, they learn the ways of wild pigs by watching the adults around them, especially their mother, who is never far away. Early on, these piglets learn to root through the dirt, sniffing out tasty morsels like roots, which are part of their diverse diet, along with acorns, grasses, berries, eggs, and small invertebrates. Pigs are emotionally sensitive animals and exhibit mood swings not unlike humans. When the kids get too frisky, Mother is not adverse to putting them in their place. It's only his pride that is hurt, but that's how piglets learn to make it to adulthood, for natural mortality among piglets is quite high. Learning to feed on their own takes months, and during the learning curve, Mother is still the best meal in town. At 6 months of age, the piglets have grown large enough to join the ranks of the other adults in the herd, and in a short period of time, they will have integrated fully into this society. In contrast to the enviable life of wild pigs, those raised on hog farms have it quite different indeed. Breeding females, kept in a cramped crate for nearly their entire lives, exhibit behavior that, as a psychoanalyst, I consider nothing short of psychotic. Day after day, month after month, year after year, their sole purpose is to breed, litter after litter after litter, until they die. Yet in spite of our treatment of farm-bred pigs, when given the opportunity to meet humans in their natural element, wild pigs can exhibit a side of themselves few of us would ever have expected. In an extraordinary experiment back in the early 1970s, Heinz Meinhardt, a German electrician, set out on an assignment to draw wild pigs away from farm fields where they were eating everything in sight. In the process, Meinhardt got to know each of the pigs in this large community, and he began to see if a group of wild pigs could ultimately accept his presence. Meinhardt spent many months getting the pigs used to him, gaining their trust by posing no threat to their safety and security. Eventually, he was fully accepted into this community of wild pigs. What Meinhardt was able to accomplish with wild pigs is no less impressive than the extraordinary relationship Dian Fossey developed with the mountain gorillas of Rwanda. Total acceptance, total trust. First, are they pretty nice about it? It didn't take me long to recognize that just like the wild animals I've studied and written about, farm animals also possess individual personalities and all the emotions that go with it. I'm a former psychoanalyst, not a scientist, so people like me are often accused of ascribing human characteristics to animals. They even have a fancy term for it. It's called anthropomorphism. Yet, there are scientists who can expand their thoughts well beyond conventional wisdom, and in doing so, see the bigger picture that is starting to come into focus. One of these is Mark Bekoff, professor of biology at the University of Colorado, and one of the world's leading authorities on animal emotion.
In anthropomorphic, I call it one of the A words. It's kind of a dirty word. But there's no way that I could communicate what I'm learning and seeing and studying in an animal without being anthropomorphic. Anthropomorphism is attributing human characteristics to non-human beings. If I tell you that the cow in the pasture was sad, was lamenting her place, I'm not saying that she's sad in the same way I'm sad, but all I had to do was look at her posture to know she was kind of sulked down, kind of just looked lethargic. I can't think of any other way to communicate that. I could tell you about her dopamine and serotonin, and I can tell you about the muscle tone in her legs and her muscles and tendons, but that doesn't capture my telling you she was either happy or sad. So I think we need to be anthropomorphic, simply taking into account the world of the animal, but using human terms to describe their behavior.